Now we're going to talk about integrity. It's such an important topic. Today's quote is entitled, Integrity. Integrity is to maintain our ideals despite the temptations that make it seem okay to give them up. Temptation. That's a very interesting word. Temptation means the promise of some kind of pleasure or something beneficial when ultimately the result is always bad. So temptation personifies the mode of passion because the mode of passion always ends up in something bad. So I make a vow and now I find it difficult to follow. There's a temptation to rationalize why I can't follow it. Well, I didn't really know what I was doing when I made the vow, and now situations have changed, etc. Now, in some cases, it's true. In some extenuating circumstances, occasionally we do have to give up a vow because keeping that vow would be much more detrimental to our life than maintaining it. So, but I'm speaking in general, that once we make a vow, we should keep it. Srila Prabhupada, he came from a culture in which people who made vows kept it. And he was quite shocked when he saw that his disciples were not keeping vows. It was something that we could see seemed to be a foreign concept to him. It's just like he didn't understand it. That's like you're a human being. That's what you do. So, integrity means that when I say I'm going to do something, I take that vow or that commitment seriously. Now, many devotees have observed, and this may be true in other volunteer organizations, I don't know because I haven't participated in other volunteer organizations. But many devotees have noted that sometimes when a devotee says they're going to do something, they're not always so reliable in terms of getting it done on time, or getting it done well, or perhaps even getting it done at all. So, that's not good. That's a lack of integrity. So integrity means if I tell you I'm going to do it, I take it seriously, I remember what I said, and I take it seriously. Now, if I don't do it, and I come up with excuses, there's a very interesting formula. And the formula goes like this. If I give you my word, but I have a good excuse, then that's the same as commitment. Commitment plus good excuse equals commitment. Now, when you think about that, you know in your own life, if someone was committed to do something, especially something important, and they didn't do it, and they came up with a good excuse, you wouldn't see that as synonymous with commitment. You would see that this person let me down. But sometimes we think, if I have a good excuse, then that's synonymous with commitment. It isn't. And Srila Prabhupada didn't want us to have good excuses for not doing what we should be doing. And the worst problem that can come from this is you have an excuse which you rationalize into an entire philosophy. So then a whole group of people can adopt a philosophy which rationalizes the same excuse, or rationalizes a series of excuses to validate why we can't follow the same commitment. You could see how dangerous that can become. I have this difficulty, you have the same difficulty, she has the same difficulty, he has the same difficulty. And we can explain our difficulty to other people with an excuse which we all use, and from that excuse comes a philosophy of this is why we can't do this. So Prabhupada didn't want us to do that because that becomes dangerous when you philosophize a rationale for failing. So one time Prabhupada was asked, why is it that we can't follow our vows, or how do we become stronger in following? And he said, you've already taken your vows, so there's no question of becoming stronger, not stronger. You have to be strong. You've already taken the vow. So that's an interesting concept. And Prabhupada's ideas, once you've taken the vow, it's like over. There's no concept of how do I follow, because once you're committed, there's no question of how to follow. It's just a given that you will follow. So when the question was asked, how do I follow? Prabhupada didn't like the question because he saw it came from the wrong mentality. So the idea is, when you give your word, that's it. There's no question of how I can be stronger, how can I be better. Prabhu, can you tell me how I can be more determined to keep my commitments? No. From Prabhupada's angle, he's saying you can't ask that question, because that when you ask that question, it already indicates that you're not committed. So if you're totally committed, you wouldn't ask that question, right? How can I become more determined to follow my vows? If you were totally committed, that question will come up. You wouldn't need to know how to become more determined because you made the vow, and therefore you're going to do it. There's no question of not doing it. That's what it means to be committed. No question of not doing what you're committed to. So that's the idea of integrity. If I say it, I'll do it. And if I say it and I'll do it, I become strong. It builds up my character. And if I say it and I don't do it, it erodes my character. It erodes my sense of self as a reliable person. And it will erode relationships as well. So some thoughts on integrity. Hare Krishna.